Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games, the Week in Games. This is a weekly segment I do once in a great while that covers topics critical to today's board gaming community, or at least a few of you that are patient enough to listen to me. So I hope everyone's doing well. This is an interesting time. This is November. We're right in the middle of it. We're on the cusp of food, folks, fun, merriment. Huzzah! Here in the Pacific Northwest, it's been nothing but rain, wind, gusts, power flickers, etc. A little bit of flooding here and there, but this is standard. Generally, this is the standard Winnie the Pooh fall. The leaves are falling. Prices are not. Anyway, let's talk about the most important thing right now, and we'll cut to the chase. This year, as always, for probably 12 years now, well, I think I've been doing the Board Game Geek Secret Santa. This is where people sign up and then they deliver games to each other. The $50 price point is the minimum, but people generally just go overwhelmingly. Generosity just kicks in. I had the absolute best, and believe me, I've had a long legacy of really great Secret Santas. I mean, just always been appreciative of what's been given me. This year just blew me out of the park. I not only did the Secret Santa close and we get our targets 3 days ago, I got my first gift the very next day. The first. Notice the two things here, the first and the next day. Well, first off, I got Empires of the North. That's right. I got this baby right away. Now, I've been very interested in this because it is, I liked Imperial Settlers. It was a clever and whimsical and cutesy. This actually, it like notches up the cutesiness, and as I saw it being played at a couple of conventions, I'm like, this actually might even be better to me than that one. And so I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to be opening it. Finally get some time this evening to do so. And you think that would be enough? That was plenty. That was absolutely plenty. Like, I was already overjoyed. And then my Santa, the awesomest Santa, said, "Oh, expect something else." So what did I get? I have been waiting for this or had this on my list for a long, long time. Navajo Wars. I have played Comancheria, which is another game by Joel Toppin. This is a solo game that recreates. You are literally journeying through 1598 to 1864. The journey, the legacy, the generational struggle of the Navajo. And I am giddy to finally get my hands on this. I am beyond overwhelmed. There are no words to describe how grateful I am to my Secret Santa. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are, but I can tell you that there's a lot of Santas in this world. Not all of them are the real ones. You definitely are. So thank you, Secret Santa, for your generosity, and it has definitely kickstarted my holiday season I'm in just a humbling and thankful way. So thank you for that. All right, let's get on to the next topics, and let's talk other things in news. So first thing in news is, first thing in news is if you haven't had a chance to go see it, go over to the channel No Enemies Here. No Enemies Here has hosted the Charles S. Roberts Awards. This is a wargaming specific award ceremony. This is, I think, the second year he's done it. He's always entertaining. He's always very high energy, and he has a pipe. So there you go. But this year, the awards were last night. They televised them, but you can go back and watch through. There's a lot of great games. I mean, most of the awards given are ones like, yeah, I can see that. That's pretty cool. A couple I'm like, oh, well, everyone's got an opinion, but for the most part, just a great opportunity to kind of check out the best of the wargaming genre. So check that out. The other thing is, if you are not familiar with Familiar Tales, famed story designer and a game designer Jerry Hawthorne has created a new game called Familiar Tales, which will be shipping in the first quarter of 2022. I see some, I mean, as the Plaid Hat games, I believe, their Forbidden Waters was just one of the top highlights of last year for me. And this seems like it's a similar vein in that it has an app-driven gameplay, I believe. It's a cooperative deck-building, storytelling, aardvark-tickling fantasy adventure. And in it, everyone as a group will team together to save a princess. Okay. But it's not just enough to save the princess. You have to just save her, not just save her, but actually try to mold the young princess, I'm told, into something tolerable. Now that's the real story, me guessing. Yeah. So anyway, we'll learn more about it. The other thing is there's a lot of industry talent that has voiced this. If you look, there's some really well-known, well, audio faces that are going to be part of it. So if you haven't checked it out, Plaid Hat Games, Familiar Tales, give it a shot. Other thing is if you are someone who just can't get enough of the Raiders of the North Sea Line and Wayfarers and earring liquors and whatever. Anyway, you can find Wayfarers of and Wayfarers, Scholars, and Inventors of now the South Tigris. So we're going to take a 180 and go down there. That new lineup is also coming out next year. It's going to be a set of 3, I'm told. So if you liked sort of the Raiders of the North Sea vibe, this might be up your alley. And finally, Picture Perfect is a silly, charming game involving configuring just the right poses for people to get just the right picture to earn the most points using stand-up dolls. There's some actual phone camera work involved that you can opt in for and such. I pre-ordered it, and it looks to be quite the devilishly charmer of this Christmas. It seems like it will actually make it. I'm hoping so. So with that, let's get to my question of the week. All right, generally speaking at this time, I usually get a similar question, which is, what are some cool games about Thanksgiving? I have to say, Thanksgiving feels to me like the holiday that always gets skipped. The Leia to the Rebecca, the the quieter child to the wild child that is Christmas. And I have to say that there's not a ton of board games out there specifically devoted to the topic of Thanksgiving. There are some very bad ones out there, ones that just are head-shakingly bad, but there you go. There's one that is out of print that's not very available because it's out of print. How's that for the redundancy department of redundant redundancy? Called Happy Turkey Day, which is kind of a clever idea where you're trying to not be the fattest turkey or the least turkey and stuff. But that's been out of print for a while. That's about the only thing even close. Honestly is Thanksgiving's just not one that, like, I mean, even Christmas doesn't have a ton of games, although there's at least 10 or 11. Probably 5 or 6 of which I own, but Thanksgiving just gets the skipped over every year. It's sad. That said, it's not just that. There's movie-wise, there's not a ton of Thanksgiving movies either that I enjoy. Although we always watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's a yearly tradition. That is our Thanksgiving movie because it's just a classic to us. Anyway, tell me how I'm wrong. Show me that there are some other games with a tight Thanksgiving theme that I can recommend to people. So if anybody knows of any, by all means. Otherwise, we'll go on to 3 games. All right, game number 1, out of the blue, Cascadia Speaks to You. That's right. This Randy Flynn game is a follow-up to, well, I believe the company, well, maybe the company, I'll have to double check, but there was a game called Calico, which is about cats and blankets and beads, etc., which I played and found amusing. Didn't exactly really like. Cascadia takes all the things that I didn't really find enjoyable about Calico, which there were quite a few interesting, enjoyable things, and just basically made it really, really cool for me. I have a lot of love for this game. It came out of the blue. It looked intriguing. I mean, it's basically all about the Pacific Northwest, so who isn't going to give it a try that's in the Pacific Northwest? Really, really good. Really good. And tight, light family tile placement with a little twist. Really liking it. All right. Then we have The Adventures of Robin Hood. Now, if you've ever played Legends of Andor, sort of the storytelling building game, this is similar but not identical. The artwork is from Michael Menzel. There's a nice write-up about all of the journey he made to make this happen. This is really a narrative game. This is a story. Make no bones about it. There's some things you do. So, there are definitely points of you get to make some decisions, but there's a very strong Robin Hood storyline going on in the various chapters of this game. So looking forward to giving a shakedown on this one a little bit more. And finally, Gmt Tank Duel. Now, I did a review of Tank Duel, the the original, well, this is an expansion. Can you imagine an expansion that's like almost as big as the box itself? That's epic, dudes. That's epic. I'm looking forward to trying this out. It has a few more details to deal with the North African theater. There's also a tank pack and stuff, but just got this in. Looking forward to opening it up and running it through its paces. I have a lot on my to-do list, and all of it's good. So there you go. Those are my 3 games to just kind of blather to you. Now let's talk Time Machine. The year is 1997. The top story was the death of Princess Diana. I remember that. I remember it. I remember all of the stories of what, the paparazzi and all that stuff. It's still, I'd have to look up again on a lot of things. I didn't follow Princess Di the way a lot of my peers did, but I do remember that, and that was definitely not that was a low light more than a highlight, but it was the top story. Top movie was Titanic. Yep. The top song was Candle in the Wind by Elton John, which of course is a tie-in to Princess Diana and her passing during that year. No surprise there. The book was Cat and Mouse by James Patterson. I've read a few things from James Patterson. He even did a kids line at one point. But I have not read this one, so if anyone has, do tell me whether I missed out on something great or not. What did I play? Bonanza. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, not that Bonanza. This is the first Uwe Rosenberg game, of which I'm going to be doing a couple reviews of some very recently, actually, because I haven't done a lot of his stuff. Bonanza is a bean counting game. It's all about the beans, baby. It's got the clever way that you can't reorganize your hand, and so you're always kind of at the mercy where you feel compelled to have to trade with other people for mutual benefit, but not too much benefit to the other mutual partner. Still a great game. We still pull it out and play it, so that was a great start for that designer. What game would I have bought if I'd known then what I'd known now? Well, Formula D. I would have bought Formula D. I ended up getting it. I like it. It's great. It's great to pull out for just fun, with 6-7 people, because that's the capacity. And who doesn't like running around a racetrack and trying not to crash into stuff, or some people crashing into stuff? What game did I want to play? Twilight Imperium. This was a capacity issue at the time. I had a newborn. Wasn't in the cards. It was Netrunner. We needed stuff we could pick up, pull down, and not have little pieces all around. So Twilight Imperium did not fit that target demographic for me. So, all right, now let's move on to 1998. This is the year, top story. Little did we know that Google is born. That's right, Google is born, and how prolific it has become. Top movie was Shakespeare in Love. I have a habit of not watching almost any movie that has the word love in it, because that usually means no guns, no crashes, no explosions, no car chases. I'm mostly jesting. What about songs? Well, the Titanic soundtrack. Apparently the previous year was not enough, and the annoyance will go on. Once more. Anyway, the book was Rainbow Six by Tom Clancy. Always a big fan of Tom Clancy. I really liked Rainbow Six, although nothing has really unseated Red Storm Rising for me. That's still one of my favorites. What did I play? Well, because it was all about partying and fun and small diversions, it was Guillotine, which was, the game of chopping off heads. Because, hey, what better way to introduce your 2-year-old to gaming, right? Anyway, what game would I have bought then if I'd known then what I know now, or played then, bought, whatever? Mystery Rummy Jack the Ripper. I ended up getting the entire series, I believe, with the exception of one, of the Mystery Rummy series. It's a really delightful, especially the 2-player version. We've probably played it 100 times, my wife and I, over the last 10 years. Because it actually is a fun version of Rummy that's got a little bit of twist. We really like it. It actually fits the bill. So, and what game did I want to play? Well, Liberté. I know I mangled that. Liberté was, it wasn't even on the radar then. But knowing now knowing now and knowing then, like, it was intriguing. But again, without an audience to play it, solo gaming was almost a stigma at that point. So anyway, that's all I got. This has been great. I hope you guys are all doing well and are going to have a great Thanksgiving. And I hope that you have an abundance of food and peace and health and safety. I am very thankful for all of you. You guys put up with me and my ramblings and my low-key, low-budget videos. I love the conversations that you guys elicit on the comments. I try to get to each one. I definitely appreciate you. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.